Hi everyone, it's Tammy. Welcome back. Today we're going to work on the April design team project for SweetPeaCuriosities. And for this month, I have picked a kit from her Etsy store that is called Summertime on the Farm, I believe is the name of it. And I am going to be making a journal using that kit and a few other things that I had in my stash from when I made a farm journal before. This kit is a tall, skinny journal, but I have chosen to put it in this smaller book and just cut off the bottom of the pages, which I am also utilizing in the journal. And it has, I believe there are 16 journal pages, 3 collage pages, and either 5 or 6 ephemera or extra pages with pockets and photos and things like that. Really cute kit. Some of the photos are in color, some of them are black and white. There's pictures of barns and old trucks. There's adorable pictures of kids with animals. There's some advertising bits for different things. There's some postcards. It's just a really good mix of different things that I believe are going to make, look at these little guys, just a really cute little journal. I have already fussy cut everything, and a lot of the things I already have placed in the book where I want to put them. But I do encourage you to go over and look at this kit in her Etsy store because it really is a cute one. So what I did for the cover is, this cover is actually the piece of cardboard that comes inside of one of Tim Holt's tiny notebooks, the 3-ring binders. And it was the piece of cardboard that was inside to keep the notebook squares, so for shipping or whatever. And it was meant to, be taken out when you use the notebook and thrown away. And of course, as junk journalers, we don't do that. So when I was going through looking for something to use as the base for this journal, I found that, and I thought, okay, that is going to work for what I need. Now, what I did on the cover is, this is a cutter quilt. And for those of you that are not familiar with what a cutter quilt is a quilt that has been well loved. It is usually stained. It is usually torn. It may be coming unstitched. It's seen lots of washings and lots of uses. But as quilt lovers, we cannot throw a quilt in the trash. There's just too much work that has been put into it. It's, an older one has been all the pieces have been hand stitched. A lot of times they're made from clothes that you can't wear anymore, or feed sacks or flour sacks or whatever you can find to make a quilt. And so, you can't bear to throw something like that away, kind of like junk journaling, where, we can't bear to let these books go to the garbage or, wherever. And so we get them and save them and turn them into something else. Well, that's kind of what a cutter quilt is. They usually are at estate sales. Like when the person that is going to sell the estate or manage selling the estate goes in and they find these well-loved quilts, they can't throw them away either. And so what they usually do is they offer them in the estate sale for a really cheap price, hoping somebody will take them and use them for something else. And so you can usually get them, cheaply. You can also find them on Etsy and eBay where they've taken them and maybe cut them into 12 by 12 squares or whatever, and they'll sell you a square of a cutter quilt. And the idea is they're cutting around the torn parts, or they're cutting around the stained parts and saving what's usable. Some people buy them and make pillows out of them. Same thing, they cut around the stains, they cut around the tears, and then they may make a pillow or something just to save the parts of it they can. Well, I found this one a couple years ago, and same with me. I couldn't bear for it to sit there and nobody buy it, and it ended up in the trash. So I bought it, and so I occasionally use it when I'm making journals. And in this case, it's perfect for a farmhouse journal, and I have put it on the outside, and then on the inside, because part of the problem the one I got was the lining was coming off. I used the lining on the inside, and I used the top on the outside. And you can see it has some fraying, it has some tears, it has some staining, all that makes it, all the more grungy and beautiful to me. So that's what I put on the cover. The only other thing I'm going to do is I have this picture that is from the kit, and I backed it on a piece of vintage. It's like one of the portrait folios from when you had a picture made, like a cabinet card or an older picture, and they put it in those folders. This is a scrap piece that I had, so I put it on there, and then I'm just going to wrap some sari silk around it. So that's all I'm doing for the cover. Oh, and I put the vintage buttons down here. And that's all I'm going to do. On the inside, I'm not doing anything. I'm leaving it like that. I had originally thought maybe I would stamp on it, but I have since changed my mind. So, I sewed in 2 signatures in this one, and they are sewn in, you can see here, and I used the 3-hole pamphlet stitch to stitch those in. And like I said, I've already put all my pages in. I went through and cut out the pockets that were in the kit. I have those already placed where I want them. Belly bands, tucks, that kind of thing. And so what I want to do with you guys today is kind of go through, where I have things stuck in that need to be finished, and work on those with you. So the first thing I put in was the pocket that I made yesterday in the Relax Revisit Remake video, and this is where it ended up, and I think it looks really cute there. On this side, I glued it all the way down, and on this side, I left a pocket here, which I do not have anything made for that pocket yet. So I think that turned out really cute. So I'm just going to start flipping through, and as we come to things that I need to finish embellishing or whatever, we will do so. All the papers that are in here, yeah, all the papers that are in here are from the kit, with the exception of I needed 2 extra back sheets for 2 extra pages. And I used this old quilt fabric digital for that. And then there is some plain tea-dyed paper. But everything else that you'll see as we flip through is page-wise is from the kit. So, there is a top tuck here that I have not decided what I'm going to do. So we're going to skip that and we're going to start here. So what I have here is, this is a tag from the kit. It's already been backed. I need to ink it, put the hole in, that whole 9 yards. So this is where we're going to start. And I'll just work until we run out of time, and we'll just see how much we get done. And I'll kind of describe everything as I go. This tag is in the kit, and you can see it has these beautiful blue colors on it. Very summer, spring looking. My thing is starting to get a little old, and the foam needs to be replaced. So I'm just going to put a hole in it there, put a reinforcer on it. I think I'm going to use one of these gray ones. I need to ink the back of this as well. I'm not going to hold it up for my book though, because I don't want all those little pieces of foam. Everywhere. Okay, let me grab my little, I have a little basket of some fabrics and laces that I pulled out. Let's put lace in this one. This is a lot of that is in there is vintage hankies and flour sack and feed sack material. There's more of the cutter quilt in there. It's just things I kind of went through and pulled out that I thought I might use. So we will put that there. And I've got, this is a copy of a original. So this is the original. And this is the photocopy that I made, because I only have 2 originals left, so I don't want to run myself out of them. But it is a ticket for a You Pick It Berry Farm. So what you would do is you would go and pick however many berries you want, and then they would give you this ticket, and you take it up, and that's how you pay for your berries. So I want to put it down here, and I'm going to use a tiny paper clip, I think, to attach that. If I can reach them. Okay. I'm just going to clip it right on here, like that. And then I have this little bird's nest, and I'm just going to put it down here on the pocket. And it is from German scrap. You can see that it used to be glued in a scrapbook. So it is a vintage piece. Actually, I might put it over here. Do I want it on the blank page? Yeah, I think I might put it over here, just to give something to that, little something something to that writing place. And probably when I go back and do my stamping, you know, I'll stamp something kind of like a, or stencil something really lightly there so you can still write. All right, so that's that. These are kit pages. That's the quilt I was telling you about. All right, so this is the next one, and this is a belly band that I made out of one of the bottom parts that I cut off. And this is in the kit. It's one of the journal cards, and it needs to be backed. So I'm going to grab some cardstock here, and it will go on that one. Where's my glue stick? There it is. I thought this would be a better way to work on the journal, so I'm actually doing things instead of searching for things or trying to decide what I'm going to do. If you like the way I did this, let me know, or if you would rather me decide on the spur of the moment what we're doing, I can do that too. Not spur of the moment, but you know, I wouldn't get near as far, I guess, in making ephemera if I have to think about each one as we come to it. So let me know which you would prefer. And I don't care to do it either way. Which means that either way is fine with me. I said that one time to, when I was in labor with my daughter, and the doctor asked me if I wanted the mirror so that I could watch. And I said, I don't think I'd care to. And he was not from the South. And so he was like, okay, you're going to have to clarify. Does that mean yes, that you want to? Or does that mean no, that you don't want to? And I was like, no, I do not. He was like, okay. But I thought that was funny. So, what I am saying is, either way does not bother me. That if you would prefer to see everything, or you would prefer everything be prepared, either way is fine with me. And my hubby makes fun of me all the time because he is from up north. So He has been here long enough now, though, that he can figure most things out. But the one thing we always jokingly argue about is calling in to work. Because he says, call out to work, like when you're sick. Which neither one of us work now. We're retired, but when we did work, he would say, you know, call out, and I would say call in sick. Isn't it silly how just a location can make something you say mean something totally different? Okay, so that's just the fussy cut flower. That is not in the kit. That was in my flower fussy cuts. But I think it looks really good on there. And then this little girl was in my stash from the last time I did a farm journal. And I'm sorry I cannot remember what kit it's from. But I'm going to put her right down here in the corner. And I don't mean, when I say that I can't remember, you know, what kit, I'm not trying to slide anybody. I'm really not. I want to give, you know, whoever's digital it is credit. But there's sometimes I honestly just cannot remember. And I don't always remember to go back and look at my Etsy and see. And the thing about digital files is, unless you change the name of them, when you download them, you know, they do not have the seller's name listed in the file. So, if I ever don't remember somebody, I have to go back and look through my purchase history, which I don't mind doing at all. It's just sometimes I get carried away with getting my video uploaded and out on time that I just forget about it. And then when I'm trying to edit it and, you know, get everything posted, I'm like, oh, I forgot to look up that digital. So, if you ever want to really know whose digital something is, please just leave me a comment and I will make an every effort to find out whose it is. Okay, I missed right there, and I'm thinking I need a tab on this. So let me look through the scrap pieces that I have and see what I can make a tab out of. Let's do it out of this little piece right here. Ooh, I could do the quilt side too. Yeah, let's do that. How do you guys work in a journal? Do you do what I've done here and kind of go through and put everything where it's going? Or do you just do pages as you're coming across them? I'm curious to know how you guys work. Most journals I don't have unless unless it's just something that I can use pieces that I already have. Most journals I don't have ready-made ephemera for. And so I'm making it as I go, but I may have pieces in my stash that I can use, you know, that will work. And I did have a couple pieces for this one. What am I hanging on? Oh, still have a piece of that flower loose. There we go. So now it's going to hang on something else. No, it's not. Okay, we're good. Now, when I glued that down, I did leave this open so that you could put something in there too. And I may go back and put another photograph in the top part, because I still have a lot of photographs like that one right there. I don't want to cut their faces in half. Or maybe one of these that's a barn or something like that. I may go back and put in there once I get all the first layers, first pass through, I guess. Okay, the next one is this one. This is one of the pockets that is in the kit. However, I did have to cut it down because, like I said, this was for a tall, skinny journal, so this pocket was a lot higher. And so I had to cut it down to fit in mine. This piece of ephemera is in the kit as well. It says Kentucky State Fair. So I'm going to ink around it. And I'm actually probably, before I do that, going to have to cut it down, because I don't want it hanging over. Well, I guess it could. It could. But then I feel like something needs to be there. I think I'm going to turn it sideways. That's what I'm going to do. I don't mind that it's sideways. Alright. So I'm going to glue that down. Like that. I'm going to just flip that little edge over right there. And then I've got this little 10-cent ticket. And I think I'm just going to staple it. And then I'm going to back this. And this is in the kit, and I think this is an adorable picture with her little doggies and her mule. Okay, I'm going to cut around this one. Ooh, that is not straight. There, that's better. And I think I'm going to round the corners on this one. I'm going to do the 1/4 inch. Just to make it look more like the advertising card. Actually, yeah, it's an advertising card. It would have been one that would have had a calendar on the back of it. And it's for Hood Sarsaparilla. Now, I do have some actual vintage ones of these, and when I start putting the actual vintage pieces in here, I'll probably pick a couple of those actual ones to go in there. Okay, so this is our center, and again, the black and white printable that is showing there is part of the kit. It's really cute. It's got all kinds of things about chickens, and I put our little banner thing we made the other day, last week, on the Revisit series on there. The one we put the little chickens on. So it's over there, and I'm going to put this on here, and I'm going to put it on here like a belly band, and then I'm going to put this library card that I stenciled and stamped, and I'm going to put this little flower cluster. So I think I want this about right there, so right above that, and again, I'm just gluing on the ends. And then I'm just going to glue this little cluster down. These are great to make in front of the television. You just take your little scrap paper box and some little embellishments, and you can embellish them with anything, flowers or buttons or butterflies, whatever you have. And just sit down and staple them together and then glue your embellishment on top of it. And before you know it, you got a whole tin full. Okay, so there is our center spread. The only thing I might do is here is get something original ephemera or receipt or something like that and stick up under that paper clip. Same with this side. I'll probably take a photo, one of those photos or something, and stick up under the paper clip. I'm going to slide this down just a tad. It's making the top of the page too heavy because of the button and little number on it. Okay, next, this is where the double tag is. So next we have this, which is one of the pockets from the kit. Again, I cut it down so that it would fit into my journal. And I'm going to take this digital bingo card and I'm going to put this picture of this truck on here, which is in the kit. Sorry, I was just wanted to check the time and make sure we were all right, and we're cruising. So let's ink that. Okay, and then I think I'm going to move it toward the bottom so you can see the numbers at the top. Yep. Do I want to kind of tear around that? Or even, yeah, I think I'm going to tear. And get rid of some of the parts of the picture that don't really add to it. The sky or whatever. Make it look a little rougher. Tear across the bottom. I mean, not that the sky doesn't add to the picture, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I like that better. Okay. Now, I do have a piece of ephemera that I had made previously that I have kind of set it aside to possibly use, but it is really bulky, and so and it may be too big, but the thing about it is when I saw this picture, I thought it was quite ironic that I have this. This is a piece of ephemera that I made quite a while back that has these old trucks in it. And these are actual photographs that I took when I went to Vegas. We went out to a gold mine, and the person that owned the gold mine, was it gold? No, it wasn't gold. It was a metal, but I can't remember now what kind of metal it was. It was a really cool place. I took these photos. So these are photos that I actually took, and then this was in the kit. And so if I can figure out, and you could see I'd have to cut it down quite a bit. So if I don't feel like the journal's too bulky, I may come back and use this. Otherwise, I'll save it for another project. But I do have that kind of sitting there as a possibility. Okay, so now the bingo card will go down in the pocket. I'm just spinning it a little bit, making it look a little rougher. And then I have another piece of the cutter quilt, and I just pinned a piece of crocheted lace on it, and I'm going to, I think I'm going to tear it about right there. And that's the fabric on that poor cutter quilt is so fragile that it takes nothing to tear it. And I'm just going to glue that down on there. I'm going to use a glue stick because the pin is pinned onto the fabric. I'm not worried about gluing the pin. I'm just going to kind of plop it down on there. Get that little edge right there. May have to put some more glitter glue. That's where the seam was. Just wanting to pop up. Yep, let's put just a little bit. Just right there. Alright. And like I said, this may not be the final. When I go through the next time, I may decide a label needs to go there. I may decide a tab needs to go there. But what I'm trying to do today is get my basic layout with my basic pieces done. And then, you know, I'll flip through it with a second set of eyes and decide what I need to add. And of course, as I've said before, I do my stamping and stenciling last. Alright, so here, this is between the two signatures, and I have a pocket here. This is out of one of the collage pages where I had to cut off the bottom. So I made this pocket, and then over here it's an up tuck. Okay, so what I want to do here is, oh, this is another digital scrap that I had, but I thought that would make a cute tag because it has the buttons in similar colors that are on the digital, and then I had this little cluster in my stash with a similar color. So we're going to make this a tag. That one wide enough? Nope. new piece of cardstock here. Alright, cut this out. Okay. So we're going to ink around this. And I should have cut my corners before I inked around it. My corner jumper here. And put a hole, hopefully in the middle or close to it. Reinforcer, and then what do we want to put for the topper? Let's do another piece of this lace. All right, so there is that. And over here, I'm going to make a seed pack. But we may be skipping that for the moment because I need a piece of vellum. And I don't think I could use this. Okay, let's use this. I think it'll work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make like a, I may not be able to get this to cut. I may have to use the other one. Yeah, it's not going to cut on here. Let me try. Let me try to cut it on here. Because I know I can't cut it straight by hand. Alright, so I want to make like a envelope. And I'm sure you can't see what I'm doing. Okay, all I've done so far is kind of folded it in, not in total thirds, but you get the idea. Make sure this is wide enough. Yes. Alright, so then I need to leave a bottom and I need to leave a top. So I'm going to cut about an inch off of that. Do I like that width? Yeah, I think the width is fine. So now I'm going to fold down the top. And then fold up the bottom. And then I'll take out the extra. So now that I have my creases, I'm going to cut at a slight angle into that center crease, or not center crease, but toward the center, and then up my crease to the next intersection. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to cut just slightly to the center and then on the line. And then on the bottom, I'm going to cut an angle here. And I'm going to cut, no, I'm going to cut that all the way off. I'm going to cut that all the way off and then an angle here. And then I'm going to cut this one all the way off. And an angle there. Just like that. And then, just to make it look a little bit more proportioned, I'm going to take just a little bit of this off. Yep, that's better. So basically, we just made like a little coin envelope or a policy envelope. Okay, and then I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to take my crocodile rounder. I don't think a regular corner rounder would do it, but I think this one might. And actually, I don't have to fold it in half if I'm using this one. It's going to be the same on both sides. If you're not using something like this, and you want to cut it with your scissors, you would hold it in half like I was doing, and, you know, just kind of go around it with your scissors. And I'm going to have to straighten that one up. It didn't. Okay, that's close enough. Alright, now to glue this together, I'm going to use double stick tape. And the reason being is I don't want it to crumple all up. So, excuse me if I reach for that. And I'm just going to use my little score tape because it doesn't have to be wide or anything like that. So I'm going to put it on this side. And on this side, I always double check that because I end up putting it in the wrong place if I don't double check myself. If I can get it off. Oh my goodness. There we go. Two little strings in there. Not that that matters much, I don't guess. Just makes it more grungy, right? Alright, so then we can shut those, and then we'll do the same thing along the bottom. Okay, so there's our little seed envelope, and I'm going to put this, I'm going to ink it. And it's going to go on here just like this. And I'm actually going to use sellotape. To hold it on there. Just because I can. I hate trying to get these off here sometimes because I always end up on the wrong dang side of the page trying to peel them off. Isn't that awful? I actually have a couple sheets that I weeded, and I took the backing off so I could tell where the dang tape was. Okay. Alright, so now what I will do is I will find my seed beads, which I'm not sure where they are right now, or I do it right now. But I'm going to put some seed beads down in here, and then I am going to tape that shut so you have like a little shaker full of seeds. And then that will fit up under here. And I may end up having to glue that all the way down rather than having the tape just hold it, just simply because it's going up under there. And, you know, it'll be taken out and shaken and put back. So, but you get the drift. Alright, so now let me see. Okay, yep. That's as far as we're going to get in this one. And it's pretty good. We got all the way through the first signature in the first page of the second. So the next video, I guess we'll do the second signature. And then we'll go back for the second pass through where we're going to get into more detailed stuff. So let me know what you think. And again, let me know if you like the way that I decided to work on this journal with you guys. We'll go from there. So tomorrow is, I saw it on Pinterest. So be sure and come back for that. I haven't even looked to see what I might like to do for that. But I hope you'll join me anyway. And I did get my little coin holders in. So we will be doing the coin holders for the Relax, Revisit, Remake video next week. And also, I now have my theme for Junk Journal Madness, which is being hosted by I Totally Love It. Susan announced those yesterday, and so I will be getting started on that this week as well. So until tomorrow, everybody have a great evening, and I'll see you then. Bye.